welcome to In My Opinion for Lone Survivor, the Director's Cut. In Lone Survivor, you play as a guy, referred to as you, in a city left in ruin by some sort of disaster. This disaster also caused the spread of disease, turning people into monsters. During the game, you find notes and listen to the radio to try to form an understanding of what's going on. However, the deeper you get into the mystery, the more it's hard to tell from what you're seeing is real or not. By the end of the game, you have a semi-understanding of the connection between you and his moments of insanity, though most of it is left to interpretation. While the mystery was interesting enough to string me along to the end, I would have liked more answers to some questions I had. Lone Survivor is a 2D survival horror game. Your apartment acts as your base in which you can cook food for health, sleep to save, listen to the radio to hear messages and get hints of where to go next, and read your diaries to see where you left off. You're also given different color pills with different effects, such as the green pill will let you interact with some mysterious guy with a box on his head, and gives you extra batteries for your flashlight when you awake. There's also your mirror, which is used for quick travel. You will run into plenty other mirrors throughout the rest of the game. This will allow you to travel back home in an instant. This was very helpful as it would have been annoying to trek all the way back home from wherever you were. However, from home you can only travel back to the last mirror you used, so you still have to put some thought before using the mirror. Navigation is pretty easy as well thanks to your handy dandy map. You can whip it out anytime you want and plan out your next course. The map will mark all mirrors, blocked ways, and other stuff that you come across. Most importantly, the map will show you points of interest you should go check to advance the game. Just be sure to find the map as soon as possible, since you're not automatically given one when you reach a new area. Now of course, while navigating through this nightmare city, you will encounter monsters. There are different options to get by them. You can gather rotten meat from your fridge to lure the monsters away, and quietly sneak by them. You can only carry a few pieces, but the fridge has an infinite amount, so don't worry about wasting too much. Another option is flares. These blind the monsters and let you run right past them, though they are very limited and don't last too long. Also thought they didn't work well sometimes, since there were moments where I used it, and because one monster is literally an inch away, it wasn't effective, and ended up having to waste another one. Finally, we get the good old-fashioned way of putting a bullet in. Aiming and shooting works just fine, but once the monster is dead, it's dead for good, no respawning. Though be careful, since once you shoot, they will notice you and get on top of you pretty quickly. You can find bullets laying around the world, or use the blue pills to restock. The monsters do change up their movements and attacks later on in the game, but nothing that makes shooting any more difficult. You may be asking, why not just shoot everything and abuse the blue pills? Well, that's because the game has multiple endings that depend on certain factors. Some factors are how many monsters you kill, what pills you take, mental health, and so forth. After you beat the game, you get a sheet rundown for all the factors. Though, to be honest, unless you have some sort of guide, it's hard to know how to get which path, since even with the sheet, it's still rather confusing to know what needs to be done and how much of it. Hell, I didn't even know looking at a mirror let you check your mental health till I looked it up. On a big old TV, the game looks kinda blown up. I know they were going for the retro style look, but it just doesn't work for this game. Now the game isn't awful looking, it's just not that good looking. Now for a survival horror game, atmosphere is pretty important. I think they got that right with a well done soundtrack. It's creepy and gives a sense of doom. And even the monsters sound imposing when you hear their footsteps and strange noises. Now when you see them, there's a chance you might laugh, since for the most part they can look pretty silly. The backgrounds themselves look actually gross, in a good way. The more deeper you get into the game, the more the buildings seem to mutate, as if you fall into the depths of hell. Lone Survivor is an okay game. It gives us a nicely done creepy atmosphere with a great soundtrack, backgrounds, and some good scenes of you losing his mind. Though I do wish the monster designs were a bit more better, since it kinda hurt the overall feel of the game when I chuckled at them. And again, the retro look itself doesn't really work with this game. Thanks to the map, radio, and diary, you never feel lost in the game, so you're never pulling out your hair trying to figure out where to go. I beat the game in about 3 hours, so it's a pretty fast playthrough, but if you enjoyed your first run, there are other endings to get. It's just I recommend you use a guide for that. If you're in the mood for a bite-sized game with some good atmosphere, I would give Lone Survivor a try. I hope you enjoy my thoughts on this game, and for gamer's sake, keep gaming.